Hey, what's up and welcome. I'm Matthew Msingati, the hybrid, the best of both worlds, the designer and developer. This is a very interesting video, okay? In this video, we are going to develop Gong Box. What is Gong Box? Gong Box is a music-based application similar to Spotify, Apple Music, and also other music application. This idea, I think it's Black Coffee's idea, a South African-based prominent house DJ. Okay, so so in this video, we are going to develop this app. Okay, the main part that we are going to develop in this application is the music module, the music engine, the player itself. Okay, so just a brief about the how this video came about. Okay, I what I usually do, since I've got a passion in music. I'm a developer. I've got a diploma in IT software development, and I've got a lot of experience in graphic design. So I've just realized in my craft, I have developed the liking for music. I have created my own music platform, which failed and didn't make it. So when I was looking for a job, I was like, let me hunt startups which some sort of resonate with my passion. So I was like, let me look around South Africa and see, are there any music tech startup? Okay. To my surprise, I saw there are music tech startup, and one of them, it's the one that I was working for, a music tech startup based in South Africa. It's a distribution app. Okay. So next, it's Gong Box. When I was looking at Google searching, and I was like, oh, Black Coffee is about to release an application, a music-based application, and I was like, it's interesting. So that's how I found it out about Gong Box. I stand to be corrected. I think it's not out yet. Okay, so without wasting time, let's just jump straight into it. So in searching for Gong Box, I've just noticed that I didn't like really find a I didn't really find a website, maybe a Gongbox website or something. The one that I found, I thought maybe that's about it. I think it's gongbox.co.za. It didn't go through. It didn't go through. So I really didn't get more info because I wanted to know more about the tech startup. I wanted to know more, but I didn't get much info. But when I was searching, I have found, let me check. I have found this link, Gongbox music streaming app development. So I clicked on it, and it sent me to this page. In this page, I have found detailed information about the application. And I was like, okay, since here there's the detailed information about the application, a lot of specification. I would like to believe this has been written by the guys, the what can I say, the visionaries themselves. I would like to believe because it's so realistic. Okay, so without wasting time, guys, this information gave me an idea of what these guys are about and what they are trying to do. So in this video, we are going to design the player, the player module specifically for web-based application. Okay, just a brief about me. Somebody will ask me, okay, where have you been and what have you been doing? Okay, my love for music, specifically for music, started here in this series. Okay, I was creating an awesome music player with JavaScript, Figma, CSS, and HTML. Okay, so as I was creating this series, I realized something that I'm interested in technology. I'm a developer and a front end developer, but specifically, I like music. So this is how I've discovered that when I was creating this. And then the time goes by, and I created my own music streaming platform. It's somewhere here. If you see a Spotify logo, I created my own music streaming platform, which I was using PHP, JavaScript, and CSS and HTML. Okay, so I've created that, created a database and everything. I've tried to push into the market, but it didn't work. Then again, as much as it failed, but also I've picked up that essence, that core essence that I think I like working, solving music app problems. Okay, obviously here I was creating a music Apple music clone with React JS. Okay, so this passion led me to look for work on companies that resonate with the passion. So currently, this is what I have done using this information. So as I've been getting into solving problems that relate to music now, I just did this for a client. Okay, this is an audiobook. This is an audiobook. As you can see, it has got a music player. Okay, when you play here, you can, okay, this is the chapter 1 of the book, so you can click next here. As you can see, it shows you next. So it will continue. Then when it reaches here, it will go back and play the first chapter. Okay, and then as you can see here, this playlist works hand in hand with this controller module. Okay, when you click next here, this will go here. When you play here, it will also play here. Even when you click play here, this will also play, as you can see. Okay, as you can see. So after I got some more skills and more understanding about the music player module, I was like, let me solve Gong Box's problem. Okay, so now let's just jump straight to the drawing board. Okay, let's just jump straight to the drawing board. Okay, so what we are going to do here, we are going to be this is going to be a higher level. Okay, this is going to be a higher level solution, meaning that it's not going to be technology specific, but in mind, let me tell you, in case you can see that there are some patterns. Okay, in mind, I've got React. Okay, I've got React JS in mind, so maybe I might lean towards React. Okay, so let's talk about music streaming or playing music in an application, specifically, let's say a web application. Okay, let me just change my color. Sorry about that. Okay, music app. Let's say music web app. Okay, specifically, talking about the website. Okay, let me just take out this. I think this is disturbing me as I'm trying to write. Sorry about that. Okay, let's go. So we are talking about music web app. Okay, let's look at the components that are involved. Now we are just going to name these components randomly. Okay, we're not going to think hard about it, but we are going to think about things that are involved in a music player. Remember, we are crafting a music player module, and also here we are not coding. Okay, we are developing. So we are not thinking as coders or programmers, we are thinking as architects and engineers. Okay, so things that are involved in a music player: number one, let's just even stick to the very basic. We've got songs. Okay, there must be a song. Okay, we've got song, and then a collection of songs can make a playlist. A collection of songs make a playlist. Okay, and then we've got song, we've got the playlist. Okay, and then we've got let me some sort of categorize these whatever that we are adding. Okay, so now this one forms under functionalities. Okay, okay, under functionality we must play these songs. Okay, play a song. This is a functionality we want to play. Okay, number two, we can some sort of what can I say, jump forward. Okay, we might jump forward next, and then we might jump backward with prev. That means we want to play the previous song. Okay, and then okay, we might want to repeat. Okay, we might want to repeat a song, so we might want to, this play is supposed ideally to be play pause. Okay, but for now, since we're still in the planning phase, let's just say here we want to pause. Okay, we want to pause a song. Okay, so we've got songs, we've got playlist. Okay, we can play a song, we can skip a song, we can go back to the previous song, we can repeat a song, we can pause a song. To me, I think that's about it. And remember, we are only focusing on the player. Okay, the music player, the player engine. So in case we have thought of other things, obviously we will add them. Okay, so this is what we have in terms of what is involved in the music app. Okay, now let's just quickly go outside the app a little bit. Okay, to talk about some sort of external agents. Okay, in this ecosystem. Okay, meaning that we've got users which are using the app. Okay, and also we've got users which are sharing the song or something like that. Okay, so now let's try to draw a diagram. Okay, if we've got a music player here, okay, we've got a music player here. Okay, this information can help you to create your own music platform like Spotify. Okay, we've got a music player here. Okay, obviously, on the opposite sides of this music player, we've got two like external agents. Okay, on the left we've got users. Okay, and also bear in mind, maybe because of technology, my left might be your right and your right might be your left. Please forgive me about those things. Okay, so please understand. Okay, on my left I've got a user. Okay, somebody who is some sort of using the application, who wants to listen. Okay, this is not only a user, let's just say a listener. Okay, that means to listen is to stream the music. Okay, let's label this person a listener. And then here on the opposite side we've got an artist. Okay, okay, we've got an artist. Okay, also we've got the application owner. Okay, let's call these guys the admin. In this case it's the Gong box team, the Gong box developer. Well, let's just say it's me because now I'm developing. Okay, so we've got Gong box here. Let me say dev. Okay, I think I'm wrong. Not developers necessarily, because developers, they deal with the code. Okay, let's call these guys administrators. Okay, because these guys, they don't know much about the code, they don't edit the code, but maybe They will be the one who will be approving certain things. Let's say I'm registering into the platform. Maybe there are some standards for the in order for the artist to be registered. Maybe the artist must have certain number of following on social media, let's say. Okay, so there will be guys who will be responsible for checking that. Okay, and remember, those guys are not developers as we have labeled them here. They are the admin. They are employees, day-to-day employees. Maybe a more realistic uh, case scenario, or a case scenario will be to some sort of the quality of a song, to double check the quality of a song. Okay, when this guy, the admin, previews the quality, if it's like, what can I say, it's immature, you can see that it's immature, like, no, 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 this quality will damage Gongbox as a brand, because it's just for a 12-year-old boy who's got a computer, and so these guys might go to the system and listen to the song and then approve or reject. So these are not developers, but let's say Gongbox admin. Okay, these guys are doing some administration. Okay, so now we have figured out our three acting agents. Okay, and remember, between the admin and the music app. Okay, remember, the music app, it's a module, it's not necessarily a system. Okay, it's not a system, it's not the product, but it's some sort of a module, and we are about to develop the module, to construct, to engineer the module. So it's important for us to note that the admins are not dealing directly with the module, because when they approve the quality of a song, it's not like they have to approve it and push it to the music player. Okay, so they are not close to the music player that we are developing, the module that we're developing, but it's important for us to be aware. Okay, remember, we are building the product, the actual product, but we are deciding to start with the music player. Okay, so these guys, they are interacting directly with the application. Let me not call an application, let me call the system. Okay, okay, the reason why I'm running away from the application, when I'm talking about an application, somebody might will think of the actual Android app and whatever, of which that's not the case. This is the other side of the system, which is, let's say, this part of the system, it's a dashboard part. Okay, which is not available to the public. Okay, okay, at some point, this dashboard system, I think my arrow is wrong here. Okay, check. My arrow is wrong here. Okay, supposed to be pointing like this. Okay, these guys are interacting with the system. Okay, and this is a dashboard. Okay, and then this the admins are somewhat related to the player. So when I'm saying somewhat, it means that whatever they do doesn't necessarily go to the player itself. You get what I'm saying? But however, they are part of the whole product. So I'm just going to create a partial relationship here. Okay, most of the things that they do may be relating to payments and paying people and whatever. Okay, so as you can see, that doesn't relate to playing, streaming, and viewing the song. But we wanted to take note of these guys because we are developing the application. We're developers, we're engineers. So in a way, in the end, we need to know how these pieces fit together. Okay, so that's why here I've got a partial connection. But the guys who are directly connected to this module, it's the users, because they click it. Let's be practical. The users, because the users interact with the module, as you can see here. We click, they click next. Okay, and in terms of the artist, okay, in terms of the artist, they feed the player. Okay, whatever that the player will be consuming, it will be coming from the artist. Obviously, those will be input output modules, how the files and mp3s are going to be loaded, and how the JSON data, or the how the API, how this module is going to call the API, and the API is going to respond with a list of songs, an image, and URL, and all those things. Okay, excuse me. Okay, now we are here. We have identified that we've got the music player in the middle. We've got the external users, which is the listeners, and we've got the artist. Let's call them label them as the producers. Okay, let's say the producers. Okay, okay. One might ask, why do I have a tendency of double labeling my agents? Okay, we've got users here. I could just stick to users, but I've decided to add also listeners. Okay. And also here we've got artist, but I have decided to also add producers. Okay. This is very important. Okay. Because the more you understand the acting agents in various ways, the more you will also get an insight into their role in the system. Okay. For instance, the artist, it's not just only an artist, but it's a producer, meaning that they, okay, when I'm saying producer, please bear with me. I'm not talking about a producer as like Dr. Dre, as guy who create beats. Okay, but I'm just trying to say they create an input. Okay, they create an input, they kickstart the process, they feed the machine, they feed this function. Okay, mathematically this will be a function, you put x and this function will process it, and it gives you y. Think I'm taking you back to high school. Okay, so they are the producers in a way that they supply the input, the songs, they upload the songs, and the player will consume the songs. Okay, so I hope you are getting the idea here, like where we are, and also how these people are going to use the system. Okay, so now let's continue and add on functionality to see. Now that we know the external agent, don't we have some sort of added functions? Okay, don't we have some sort of added functionality, or that we can some sort of think of now that we are here? Okay, um as a user, I log into Spotify and I play a song. The player will handle that. I click next, I click skip, I pause, and I use the playlist. Okay, and that is it. So I use the playlist and play there. Once we talk about sharing, okay, sharing the music and whatever, I think that responsibility, at least, is not within the scope of a music player, because once we say music player, it must deal with playing the music. Guys, for now, I'm happy with what I have. Okay, I'm happy with what I have. I think I am ready to jump to part two, where we will be actually constructing the player. So what I'm gonna do personally, I'm just going to take a small break. Somebody is calling me. Obviously you are not going to notice that, because I'm just going to pause the video and quickly come back. Okay guys, I am back. I have also refilled my bottle, so we are good to go. Okay, so basically this is what we have. So now let's turn to a different page where we will construct the player. Okay, let me do this. Let me do this and add a new page here. Okay, let's call this the player. engine. Okay. Okay, let's call this the player engine. Okay. Now, as I've told you that now we are thinking like engineers, and we are thinking like okay, and also we are thinking like architect. Okay, so now let's bring some sort of a principle, a list of principles that are going to help us to be efficient and to be effective. When you've got time, just go to the internet and search for solid principles. Okay, solid principle. And also, when you've got time, please search the gang of four. Okay, GOF, the gang of four. Okay, yeah, GOF, the gang of four. Okay, the gang of four will introduce you to software design patterns. Okay, okay, okay. What I've noticed is most developers, they don't use these things solid and the GOF, and I completely understand. One of the challenge might be, one of the reason might be they are not aware of them. Number two, they don't know how to apply them. Maybe they are more of a higher level concept. For instance, if I am creating a social media application, okay, and I am the developer, what we tend to do is to some sort of, what can I say, make the code functional. Does it work? Yes. Then kumbaya, a coder or a developer is happy with it. But now comes efficiency, comes the speed, comes optimization. Then we start to have the problem. And you will realize that when you get into those concepts, the initial code that you have written, it's not only it's not efficient, but it has not been well constructed. So the more you think about fixing it, it's the more you realize, or the process is telling you that you need to throw it away. Okay, because it's not structured in such a way that it can be scalable. Okay, what will help you in order to design or to come up with a code or an architecture that is scalable? Some of these things will help us: the solid principle and the design patterns. Okay, so I hope you are as excited as I am. Okay, sorry about that. Let's continue. Okay, so now we have identified that we've got the player engine. Okay, let's put the player engine here. Let's say this is the player engine. Okay, this is the player engine. Okay, okay. Think of the player engine as a what can I say? As a CD player. Okay, think of it as a CD player. Okay, it it's responsible for all the functions, okay, that are involved with playing the song, okay, or triggering the sound, like to your monitors, or some sort of it's responsible for all the actions that are taken for the sound to come out of your speakers. Okay, so what are those functions? Okay, this is what this guy is responsible for. Okay, this is the engine. I think we've written this on the previous page. Playing. Okay, playing forward slash pausing. Okay, to make this practical, this is what this guy is responsible for. Okay, okay, next. I'm gonna quickly pause that, and obviously going to the previous one. Okay, I hope that one is crystal clear. Okay, so this player engine is responsible for playing and pausing. Number two, For next, just skipping. When you want to go to the previous one, okay, that's about it. So that's what the player engine does in its essence. Okay, we only wrote 3 points here. As the architect or the engineers, this is what we are looking for. Okay, our enemy, it's some sort of multifunctionality. We are using this S at the same time. Okay, we are using this S for single responsibility. So we are checking that does this player engine does only what it's supposed to do. Okay, we don't want it to share the song, we don't want it to whatever. Okay, we don't want it to do a lot of things that it's not supposed to do. We don't want it to upload the song, we don't want it to download the song. We want it to do only 3 things. Okay, things that relates to what it's supposed to do. Okay, that means that's a single responsibility: play, pause, next, and preview. That means go back, and that's about it. Okay, that means now we are implementing the solid principle. Okay, and then this single responsibility principle will entertain a loosely coupled architecture, so meaning that we are going to have different pieces. Okay, in software development, that is what can I say, that is promoted, or it's condoned. You must have different pieces than one piece, so that, because with one piece, when one line breaks, that means you have to, what can I say, fiddle and also touch things that you were not supposed to touch with, will also break. But if you've got multiple pieces, okay, you can go to where the problem is. Okay, if the car doesn't move because of the tire, you only replace the tire. You don't touch the engine, you don't touch the wheel caps, you don't touch the rear view mirror, and so forth. Okay, so I hope you get the idea. So now we are going to have different pieces. Okay, so a player engine, it's something that is going to be responsible for doing this function. It's more like it's going to play. Okay, but it's not the things that it's associated with. What are those things? Okay, a player, it's not the controls. Okay, that means now we are separating. There's a difference between the player and the controls. Okay, okay, we've got controls. uh, okay, we've got controls here. So when we talk of controls, think of the buttons. Okay, what buttons do we have? I'm just going to draw those buttons. Okay, we've got, going to the previous one, we've got play, pause. Okay, I hope my drawing skills are better. Okay, at least you can see what's going on here. Okay, okay, as you can see. Okay, play, pause. Okay, so these are the controls. Okay, controls are not the engine. Okay, it's like the CD player and the remote. The remote is controlling the CD player. Okay, in this case, this is the CD player. Okay, this is the CD player and this is the remote control. Okay, the CD player is not a remote control. It is not, but it works with the remote control. Okay, I hope you got that one. Let's put this into perspective so that you can have an idea of what I mean. Okay, in this system, we've got a player. Okay, but this player works with these controls. Okay, And these controls have got some two parts, the UI and the code. Okay. So when you click here, something happens. Who does that? Is the controls. Okay. The controls module. Okay. Behind this beautiful interface and the icon, there is a module that deals with controlling. Okay. That module, it's not the player. No. Don't put it inside the player and make it one thing. No, that's wrong. It must work or communicate with the player, but it must not be the player. That means we we are favoring a loosely coupled architecture. Okay, I hope that's one is clear. Okay, so so the player is not the control, but it communicates. Okay, communicates with the controls. Okay, now we've got another part that we have talked about on the previous page, okay, which is songs. Okay, let me say song and then say songs. Okay, let me write song and write songs. Okay, okay, one song can be fed into the player. Okay, let me just to illustrate the point, this is a speaker. Okay, this is a studio monitor. I hope this is how speakers look like. At least my drawing is not that bad, you know. We used to have big speakers when I was still growing up, which we used to call them subwoofers. They used to come with DVD players. I hope the guys who are born on 2000, they understand that. That's besides the point. Okay, so here music is coming out of here. Okay, also scientifically we can represent waves like this. Okay, so you can feed a song. Okay, .mp3, you can feed a song into the player and the player will execute the song. Okay, and then you will hear the music. Okay, however, a player can execute a song or a list of songs. Now we are introducing a playlist. Okay, that means here on songs we mean a playlist. Okay, which means a list of songs. Okay, 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 that means we can feed a list of songs and the player is going to execute those lists. Okay, remember, under the player engine we only had play, pause, we only had next, and we only have like previous to go to the previous song. Okay, now I think we are now ready to add more but related functionalities, or functionalities that depends on the player. Okay, and what are those? Number one, if the player if the player can execute a list of songs, it means that it has got a duty. When it's done playing the first song, what must it do? It must move to the next song. Okay, when it's done playing the next song, it must move to the other song. What if it reaches the last song? And then maybe we might say it must go back to the first song. Let's be practical. Okay, what I'm going to do, I'm going to mute the audio so that it cannot be loud. Okay, and then this is where we are now. Okay, on number one, track one. Okay, track two, track three. Okay, let's just quickly forward. We're on the last one. Let's see what will happen. As you can see, we are okay. As you can see that we have jumped to the first one. Okay, so let's go back. Okay, so meaning that the player is also responsible for some sort of broadcasting states. Okay, let's add this here. Let's say state broadcasting. The player, as a player, think of a player like in the field, like the actual player. Like recently the Springboks, a South African rugby team, has won a World Cup. Obviously, I'm not well knowledgeable or clued up about the sport, but people have been happy, celebrating, and whatever. So let's think of the player as in like in form of sports, okay? As a player, you don't play alone, okay? You play with others, okay? Meaning that you are not like some sort of running a one-man show, okay? The other players needs to be keep updated. You must tell the other player, move to this direction, then I will give you the ball, and then you can kick the ball, and then whatever, maybe score and whatever, okay? And then um this player engine, okay, this player engine needs to broadcast, needs to communicate with the external agent, okay, about the state. Okay, what might that be? Number one, excuse me. Okay, number one, as this as the song is playing, okay, we want to know uh number one, the duration of the song. Okay, these are the things that we're interested in. Okay, okay, I really didn't have to write it that long, but we want to know the duration. Okay, we can get that from the player engine. Okay, and then number two, okay, we want to know, what can I say, um the current time. Okay, the current time. Okay, the current time of the song. Let me just write it that way for the lack of a better explanation. The current time of the playing song. Okay, it looks like I am not explaining myself very well, because if I could, I'm supposed to be short, okay? But we will make these things shorter so that we can hit the point home, okay? We want to know the duration, and we want to know the current time of the playing song, okay? Like, are you on 0 seconds? What? Okay, so that's the state. So the player need to broadcast those things to us, okay? We want to know, are you playing or are you finished? Okay, that's part of the state. Okay, let me just say, is playing or not? Okay, obviously, if you are an English speaker, you might notice that some of the things that we write here, they don't really make proper sense in English, like is playing, like what's that? Okay, but as a developer, these are the terms that you will become friends with, okay, because you will use these as variables, okay. You will use these as variables, and the variable name is playing, okay, more like it's asking. Okay, inside this is playing, there will be true or false. Okay, so uh take things as I'm writing them. Okay, okay guys, let's continue. Okay, so the player has to broadcast some states. Okay, so one of the things that we want to know the current time of the song. We want to know if is the player playing something or not playing something. As you can see now, we are starting to understand the player better. Okay, now it's starting to be more like a realistic module. Okay, if it's we were talking about object oriented programming, I was going to say this is becoming a realistic class or an object. Okay, so guys, let's continue. Let's see what else can we check here. Okay, so now that we have noticed that this player, okay, communicate with the controls. Okay, so now we need to have a way in which this player will communicate with the control, and also we need to have a way in which this player is going to receive the music. So this player is consuming something and also it's producing something. Okay, think about the input and think about the output. Okay, um this d this d in the solid principle. Okay, this d in the solid principle is for dependency injection. Let me correct myself. Is it dependency injection or dependency inversion? Okay, let me just quickly double check that, but I think it's dependency inversion. Okay, but however, dependency injection is one of the solid principle. Okay, it's one of the design patterns. Okay, let me just say solid principle. Okay, solid principle. Okay, what we want to do, we want to use the dependency injection pattern. Okay, so I just want to make sure I correct this. Let's see. Okay, yeah, this is dependency inversion. Okay, this is not what this is not what I mean. Okay, so let's just look for dependency injection. Dependency injection. Okay. Okay, not images. Let me say what. Okay, okay, injection is a programming technique. Okay, let's close this. It's a programming technique in which an object or function receives other objects or function that it requires, as opposed to creating them internally. Okay, that's what I wanted us to look at. Okay, so meaning that the player engine wants to consume something. Okay, it wants to eat something. Okay, now as we are coming up beautifully with the architecture, we don't want the player to manufacture what it's going to eat. We want it to just receive it. Okay, and work with it. It must not create it. It must not know more about it. Okay, and also here the player knows nothing about the controls, but it works with the control. Okay, the controls can change. The player will keep on becoming a player. The player will consume the song. It might consume an MP3 at this point in time. Remember, it's not strictly concerned about the type of the song or the file, but it's concerned that it's a song. Okay, obviously, I told you that in programming we've got our own English. Okay, so now I'm going to introduce one of those terms. The player engine is not concerned. Okay, the player engine, it's not concerned about the file type, but it's concerned about the playability of the item. And remember, it doesn't recognize these as item, it recognizes these as objects. Okay, so it's concerned about the playability. Is it playable? If this the item it's playable, the player engine has got no problem with it? What if it's an MP3? It doesn't have a problem. What if it's an whatever, a different file format, a WAV or whatever? It doesn't have a problem. Okay, as long as it's playable. Okay, so meaning that this creates some sort of reusable modules. Okay, because you can take this player module and put it in a different application and it will work as intended as long as you supply it with what it wants. Sorry about that. Okay, as long as you supply it with what it wants, it will work. Okay, now let's continue getting into the dependency injection. Okay, let's okay, now let's talk about the player. Okay, okay, let's talk about the player engine here. Okay, now we know that the player engine, okay, this is the player engine. Okay. Oh, sorry. Okay. Now we know that the player engine, it needs to consume something. Okay. And then needs to produce something. Okay. Let me make the production more like an arrow. Okay. It's going to consume something and then it will have to produce something. Okay. Now, whatever that is going to consume, we are not going to manufacture it here in this module, but we must receive it as a dependency. Okay, the player the player depends on a song. Okay, it relies on it because if there is no song, it's useless. It doesn't play anything. There is no sound if there is no song. So it depends on the song. Okay, but it's not a song. It must not be a song, meaning that it must not be tightly coupled to a song whereby the other developer, when they are looking at our architecture or at our code, they are like, we don't understand which is which. No, it must not be a song or even try to be part of a song, but it must depend on it. Okay. Then we need to throw it as a dependency. Okay, let's say song. Okay, I don't know what type of a color is this one. Okay, I'm looking for more of a solid color, something like this. Okay, okay, so a song. Okay, let me just be playful a little bit to help you understand exactly what I'm saying. So a song, okay, I hope this looks like an apple. Okay, so a song will come as a dependency. Okay, something that will be injected. Okay, something that will be consumed. Okay, something that will be consumed by the player engine. Okay, something that will consume by a player engine. Okay, that means it's a song. So meaning that the player engine can consume one apple or a bunch of apples. Okay, one apple or a bunch, this one or this one, same thing. Okay, so meaning that this is going to receive the songs as a dependency. Okay, and that's it. And then meaning that what we are going to do, we need to always push a JSON object. Okay, now we are starting to be more detailed. Okay, we need to push a JSON object. The player engine must receive a JSON object as a dependency, which is a JSON object. It's more like a list. Okay, it's more like a list of song. Okay, what if in that list of song there is only one song that will represent this song? Okay, it's a box. In that box there could be one apple, there could be more than one apple. So this module is going to receive a song or a list of song. Okay, meaning that in that JSON object it takes it as a dependency, then it's going to use it, okay, to some sort of play all those songs. Okay, I hope that one is clear. Now where we are, we have identified the player engine as a separate module that works with the controls, and also it receives a list of song as a JSON object as a dependency. We are injecting that dependency into it, and then what it will do for us, it will need to play those. Okay, that means it's going to give us sound, let's say. Okay, it's going to give us sound. Okay, now we have mastered that. Okay, now let me write a list of these new things that we are going to do. Okay, let's see. Okay, let me just write a list here. Okay, dependency injection. Okay, this will receive a dependency. Okay, then the player engine must talk to the control. Okay, meaning that the control, what can I say, might be the user interface. Okay, let's just write a small UI here. Okay, let's take this as next, and then this as prev. Okay, this module, this is the UI part of it, and then obviously there is a JavaScript part of it. Some functions, when you click here, a function will be called. When you click play, a function will be called. When you click this, a function will be called. Okay, so that function will communicate with, okay, that function will communicate with the player module. Okay, as you can see that the player module also is aware that it's going to communicate with next, play, and pause in different ways. Okay, so this means that now we have to choose. Okay, must we put these functions? Okay, must we shove these functions? Okay, the next function, the play function, and the previous function. Okay, must we shove these functions in this module, the controlled module? Okay, if we do so, okay, it will mean that what if we want to use the play pause module, but not in the controls, but in the playlist? Let's bring some practicality into this. Okay, okay, these are the controls. Okay, we are going to take the next, the play pause, and the next, the play pause, and the previous, the preview button into this control. Okay, what if we have another module, which is playlist? As you can see, here is the playlist, and the playlist must make use of a play pause. How is it doing that? This is how it does it. Okay, let me just put back my volume. Okay, as you can see, this playlist or this control or this component, it makes use of a play pause functionality. So that will mean we also need to take that um play next and previous button or functionality to this module, because it needs it. So meaning that every module that needs to play or pause it will mean it must have those functions. Let's go back. We are engineers, we are architects. We don't want to repeat ourselves. And then there is a concept in development which is dry. Okay. Do not repeat yourself. It looks like if we take these modules and put them here, when another function come or another component that want to make use of play next and whatsoever, that will mean that we will have to some sort of repeat those modules. Okay, if that is not clear, don't worry, I will make it clear to you with something that you are used to. Okay, let's jump to don't I have Apple already? Apple Music. Okay, let me just say music. Okay, okay. What must I do? What must I do? What must I do? Let's click preview. Let me shut down the volume. Okay, okay, okay. I want this to play soft. Okay, even if it's not loud. Okay, and then this is what I mean. Okay, you can pause this song here. It's pausing, right? Now I am going to look for another component that makes use of the same pause functionality. Okay, I am not that familiar with the Apple Music whatever, but I'm just going to look for. Nope, I don't want to share. Let's click here on preview and see. You see, this button makes use of the same module. Okay, I think now you are starting to get where we are going, and I'm happy with that. Let's continue. When you are here, as you can see, it gives you an option to pause also. Let's see. You see, we can play, we can pause. This is in sync with this one. Okay, remember. Now let's go back to what I've demonstrated to you about the system that I've created. If you play here, this is in sync with this one. So are you starting to recognize the patterns here? Okay, obviously with coding courses or YouTube tutorial, these are the concept that you don't get. This is what we do as developers in YouTube. Hey, my name is Matthew, this is how to code a music player. Do this, do that, do this, do that, do this, do that, and that's it. When you are done, it's working. But do you know how it works, or can it be extensible, can it be scalable, can it, and then you find out that you really don't know. Okay, as simple as this application is, but it's packed with what can I say, higher level architectural way of doing things. Okay, how to create components and how to link them in an efficient manner. This makes it easier for somebody else when they are coming to my code. First of all, they can see that these are related modules. This is what they consume and this is what they produce. Okay, these are related modules, this is what they consume and this is what they produce. Okay, so that if they want to extend or they want to continue with the code, they can do so without my involvement. I think these are the skills for a senior developer, I can say. Okay, let's continue. I'm happy that me and you, we are both learning. Okay, I think with April, there is also another way in which we can also view the same playing button. I think here this will load another player, something like this, as you can see. Now we are on a different screen, okay, but we are still making use of the preview button, as you can see. Are you following me? I'm happy that you are following. Now let's go back to the drawing board. So we have to make a decision. These are the decisions that the programmer, the coder, they don't really make this decision, because programmers and coders, they just jump to the code and make it work. What about tomorrow? Tomorrow, they themselves don't even know how it works. These are the issues of programming. That's what we do sometimes. We forget what we have written yesterday. Even me, I'm a victim of that. So let's continue. Now that we have realized that we must apply the try principle, okay, we must take these modules the way we have written them here. They must be part of, okay, what's the best way of writing this? Okay, the next, the play, pause, and the preview on the previous button to go to the previous song must be part of the playing engine. Okay, this might be a function in real life, function in C Sharp, or function in Kotlin, function in Java. As an architect or an engineer, now I am not really concerned about that, but I'm concerned about the efficiency. When I'm done planning this, I'm going to take it to a coder and code it for me. I don't have to know if this is going to be C Sharp or JavaScript or whatever language. Okay, I will push this to a coder, and the coder will make it work for me. Okay, I will have to hire somebody who will make it work for Android, who will make it work for iPhone, for the web, and whatever. Okay, but remember, I told you, in my mind I've got web, and also in terms of the language, please bear with me, I've got React in mind, in case you are starting to see that I'm leaning towards React. Okay, so we are going to push these where is my cursor? I don't see. Let me write. Okay, here is it. Okay, so we are going to push these are going to be part of the player engine. And then this means that the external agent, which is the controller, needs not to have these functionalities, but it must borrow these functionalities and use them. It will borrow them and it will use them. So it's not going to have them. So meaning that if we adopt the borrowing kind of a thing, okay, the strategy, it means that we can create a new component in the future which won't have those functionalities, and it will just borrow them and use them. And that's it. That's being clever. We are smart, eh? So meaning that now we are having one module. Okay, let's say this functionality, it's next, we only have one of these. What if the next functionality doesn't work? We don't go to a particular component which was created yesterday by a new developer. No, also he doesn't have to create one. It's already there, he must use it. Okay, the guys who are working, let's say, with UI and whatever, they must use the module, they must not create it. That's being smart. Your code will be clean and your code will be extensible. Okay, so now let's continue. So we know and we are sure that these functionalities must be part of the player engine, so that everybody who wants to use them, we can borrow them. Okay, now let's look at how complex this is so that I can be able to break it down. So my next move is determined by where we are now and what's the best way to explain this to you. Okay, let's see. Can't we get into the practicality before we close the video? Can't we get into the practicality of this borrowing and also make it practical? It relates to React JS. Okay, obviously, when I was coding my own application, music application, I was using vanilla JavaScript, jQuery, and also yeah, and PHP as a back end. So in a way, I didn't apply this borrowing this way. Yeah, so in that one, I had a class Obviously, even if the name was not player engine, but it was a player, so it was a class. Okay, and this class had properties and it had method. It has these three methods, or these methods: next, play, pause, and preview. Okay, these were in a class, but the same rule applies. It was only one class. Okay, so all the other functions like the skip button, they were just accessing those functions. They were not creating them. Now we're just going to tackle that part with React so that I can give you a 360 degrees of what's going on, particularly in React. And this is going to be some sort of the last part. Okay, please indicate if you want me to continue with this Gong box player engine. If you like it, please press like. And also, if you want me to continue, okay, you must let me know and then I can continue. If you've got some questions, um shoot a comment below and ask whatever you want to ask. If you feel like you want to book me or hire me or talk to me, okay, about the some sort of an idea that you have around music, you want me to help you with the architecture, with the planning and how things are supposed to be done, you can go to my website matthewmsingati.co.za. You can click here a discovery call, tell me your name and email, then I will come back to you, or just hit me up at info.co.za. I will be more than willing to help you. Obviously, we will discuss about the rates, but believe me, it will be determined by what you want to solve. Okay, I can't come up with a big figure, whereas you only want assistance into a small thing. Okay, guys, let's continue. Okay, now we were in the player engine. Okay, now let's do React component. Okay, component. Okay, let's get into React components. Okay, now we want to see this relationship of borrowing functions and so forth. Okay, I'm not going to be long in this one. Remember, when a higher level planning, you don't really have to be some sort of details and specific about things. Okay, so now also my diagrams are going to be bigger. Okay, we've got the PE component. Okay, player engine component. Here is the player engine component. Okay, the player engine component has got next. Okay, okay, obviously these brackets will give you an idea that this is a function. Okay, let me use colors wisely here. Okay, okay, because that's important, that's important. Okay, let me use black. Okay, let me use red, sorry for that. Okay, this component has got these this component has got these functions. Okay, yes, okay, it has got next. Okay, it's a function. It has got prev as a function. Okay, what else can I think of? Next and prev don't really need a lot of dependence. Okay, and then we've got play, pause. Okay, okay, play, pause, which wants to receive the song ID. What song do you want to play, pause? Okay, the song ID. Okay, because this guy needs to know. Okay, what if okay, for now, for simplicity, okay, for simplicity, let's just make this a play button, not a play pause, okay? Because I don't want to some sort of deviate from this example, since I want to talk to you about TypeScript, and we need to validate for null and all those things, okay? Let's just make this a play button for now, so that we can easily illustrate the point, okay? So when you are playing, you want to know the song ID. What song are you playing? Okay, next, prev and play, and that's it, okay? So now, the blue. Okay, so now this is the component, okay? This is a component. This component has got a child component. The child component is controls, okay? The child component is controls, okay? Let me put it right behind this one, below. The child component is controls, okay? Controls, I don't have much space, okay? Controls, let me do that, okay? This is the child component, okay? It's controls, okay? Now, let's just grow child control. Let's write control. Let's just write control here, controls, okay? Now, controls, okay? The UI of control, we've got play here. And then we've got next. And then we've got prev. Okay. Once you click here, okay, there is a handle click event, okay? Let's call it next handle click event, okay? Let me make it black, okay? We've got, let me write it here, we've got next, okay, nxt handle click, let's just say AC, okay? This is a function. Obviously, we've got the corresponding one for left, okay, which is prev handle click event. As you can see, these functions make sense locally to inside controls module, because they don't view themselves as next or previous or whatever. They are only handling the click, okay? So next handle click and prev handle click, okay? And then we've got also play handle click, okay? Now, after we are done with these, let me try to let me try to erase this, yes, and then erase this, yes, and then erase this, okay? Sorry about that. Just a moment. Yes, let me erase these. Let me erase these. Okay. Okay. Remember, we are architects. Okay. We want to come up with a beautiful architecture. So we have to be careful in whatever that we do. Okay. Now that we've got these functions need to execute, okay, the components or the functions that are inside the parent component. Okay, so this is what this means. Okay, otherwise bear with me, this is going to be clear. We are going to take the next function, which, okay, we must push the next function. Okay, when we are not necessarily instantiation, because instantiation is object oriented programming. Okay, when we are declaring this component, it must always receive next, okay, prev and play as arguments or as dependencies, because this control depends on these functionalities, but it is not those functionalities. Okay, so this this control will receive these. That means that's the concept of borrowing. It will receive. So it has been designed in such a way that it depends on some functionalities, but it is not those functionalities. You can extract that component and use it in a different application as long as you feed it with what it depends on. So as we are pushing these functions so that they can be used in the different environment, it's like borrowing somebody some tools. You can borrow somebody a shovel, they will use it and they will just come back with the result. Okay, so now we are pushing these functions, so this control will receive those functions. Okay, so this, I'm just going to say it will receive n as next, p as prev, or pr as pl as play. Okay, and then once it received those, okay, and remember the reason why this name next and this one it's n, okay, I'm just giving you an idea that the naming doesn't have to be the same, because this control will name these arguments or these dependencies it receives based on the local meaning. Okay, based on the local meaning. The controls module might not really regard these as next. It might regard these as another function, normal function. It makes sense when you are inside here. Okay, so it received these functions. So meaning that after it has received these functions, we will take this and put it on next. So when next handle click function is operating or is executed, because we have clicked here, then this next function calls another function which it has borrowed, and that is n. Okay, this n is the one that we have received here. We've just changed the name, but it's what we've received here. Okay, then it will take this one, and then the prev will take this pr, and the player will take this pl, will execute that. Okay, will take this PL. At the same time, it will need to give a song ID, which is maybe number 2, because we want to play song number 2. And then let's close this. Okay, where I am. Okay, okay. So guys, I hope this is clear. We've got a parent component, PE, and they've got a child component, controls. The child component consumes some dependencies, next, prev, and play. Okay, and it uses those dependencies. It associates those dependencies with relevant controls. What are those controls? The play button, the next button, and the prev button. So whenever you click next, a next handle click function is executed, but that function doesn't create anything, or it does nothing, but also it calls the function that has been borrowed. Okay, now we have a rule now. Okay, a rule for controls component. Let's call that controls component. Okay, some rules. Okay, let's say now we are hiring a guy, a new developer, and he will be dealing with a component, a controls component. Let's call these controls component. Okay, a controls component. Okay, a controls component, according to us at Gong Box, it's a component that makes use of these functionalities. Okay, next, prev and play, then we call that a control component. Now we're hiring a new designer. We are telling the designer that, look, you are going to work with one of our controls component, and remember, we are going to take him through some sort of a similar kind of a presentation, the one that I'm doing with you, so that they get the concept. Okay, because we want them to be efficient, we want them to quickly understand the code. The sad part is, in most companies, you get in as a new developer, there is nothing that you will read. You will just jump into somebody else's code, written in a certain way, however he feels. The set part, you will be expected to deliver. You will be asked a very simple thing: change this color to white, and you will have you will take 5 hours moving up and down the code trying to figure out what was this developer mean. However, as a senior developer, or as somebody who's more like senior into the craft of design and development, you will take your developer, show him the rules that, okay, you will be dealing with a controls component. Obviously, the guy will be lost and ask, what is a control component? Okay, a controls component, it's a component that makes use of next, prev, and play. Okay, doesn't matter where. So there are rules for controls component. Okay, the controls component must consume dependencies, and those dependencies must be, now, since we want our code to be clean, consistent, and coherent, okay, we've got names for those dependencies, and those names are just like these ones: next, prev, and play. Okay, which is going to be next. These will specify the names accordingly. Okay, number one. And then these controlled components, okay, these controlled components, they don't create their own function. Okay, this is a rule, but it's more like a defensive kind of a rule. Look, there's nothing that we are going to do. Okay, so it's not that important that we write it. Okay, so the controlled component, they must take dependencies, yes, and that's it. And also, in one of those dependencies, since we have where we are, since we have a function that needs a song ID, okay, meaning that a controlled component need to be aware of a playlist. So as part of the dependencies, it must have a playlist as a dependency, consume a dependency which is playlist. Okay, obviously now this might not be the ideal way of doing it, but I'm just giving you an idea. Okay, meaning that we will have a playlist here, a JSON object with a playlist. Okay, okay, and um the player engine will make use of this playlist. Okay, at the same time, the controls must make use of the controls component might make use of this playlist. Okay, what does this mean? Let's say here, let's say here, this function, okay, pushed in number 5. This will then mean if this player engine receives number 5 here on play, the song ID is equal to 5. It must know that in this JSON object, okay, this is position 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is the last song in the playlist. Okay, so I hope you get the idea, okay, of components in React and how they work with each other. Okay, in React we call these functions props. These are props. Okay, and when you push these props down to child component, this is called prop drilling. Pushing down the props into your child components, it's prop drilling. Okay, guys, I'm Matthew Msingati, the hybrid, the designer and developer, the best of both worlds. If you feel like this video has added value into your own understanding of the music player engine, as we are about to create our own Gong box, okay, please do me a favor and hit that subscribe button. Okay, so if you might need some clarity, you've got an idea of a music app or whatever, feel free to contact me on my website and let's discuss about whatever that you want us to discuss. Okay. Otherwise, I'm Matthew Msingati, the designer and developer. Thank you so much for your time. See you on the next one. I hope this was worth it.